Dave Keane, Joe Sherlock, Kid Detective. The neighborhood stink. Chapter 1. Mystery Child. My name is Joe Sherlock, but everyone calls me Sherlock, even my own parents. It sounds crazy, but my little sister didn't know my first name was Joe until she was almost 6 years old. Of course, it makes perfect sense that I would be called Sherlock. Why? Well, there's a bunch of old books written about a guy named Sherlock Holmes, who smoked a pipe, wore a creepy hat, and solved mysteries like nobody's business. I've never read any of them, but I've seen lots of movies about him. So he's kind of like my hero. We almost have the same name, except for the Joe and the Holmes part. And like the great Sherlock Holmes, I was born with a natural gift for solving mysteries. Some kids my age can play the piano, break a board with a karate chop, or remember to make their beds every day. Not me. Not even close. But I can find just about anything that's lost. I can figure out the answer to a riddle way before grown-ups can. And just love a good mystery. But don't get the wrong idea. I'm no brain. In fact, I'm pretty crummy at school. Miss Piffle, my teacher, once told my parents at back-to-school night that I was a bit daffy, which is basically a nice way of saying your kid's a dope. But that's okay with me. I was born with a gift. Sometimes I get a little help from my little sister, Haley, who's sort of like my assistant. Actually, she's a bit of a troublemaker, so I have to make sure she doesn't play in the kitty litter or drop Dad's golf balls into the garbage disposal. She tags along sometimes. To be honest, sometimes she sees things that I miss. But mostly that's because she's a lot shorter than I am. Anyway, before you start snoring like a banshee, I'd like you to sit back, relax, and watch your step as we plunge into my second official case as a private detective. Case number 000002. Chapter 2. Something stinks. I'm in my room watching a Sherlock Holmes movie when I hear a knock on our front door. Is your son Sherlock home? I hear our neighbor, Mrs. Fefferland, ask my mom. He is, Mrs. Fefferland, my mom answers. Please come in. Mrs. Fefferland lives across the street from us. Her husband travels around the world selling plastic sprockets, gears, and other junk to people who need that kind of stuff. So Mrs. Fefferland has a lot of free time to work in her yard. A well-clipped work of art that's surrounded by a white picket fence and off limits to everyone. Did Sherlock break one of your windows again? My mom asked. Already my heart is thumping in my chest. Not because I think I might have a second official case, but because I never knew that Mrs. Fefferland knew I broke her kitchen window. Jeez, that was like 80 decades ago, and my mom's still bringing it up. Nothing like that, Mrs. Fefferland says. It's just that there's been some mysterious poop on my gated front lawn in the past few days. You think Sherlock's pooping in your yard? My mom gasped. Now I'm ready to barf. My head starts spinning. I'm ready to run out the back door and never come back. Until I hear Mrs. Fefferland say, Oh, no, dear. I just want to figure out whose dog's responsible. I want it cleaned up. Your Sherlock has a reputation in this neighborhood as a problem solver. I'm hoping he can help me catch the mystery mutt. Phew! I thought I was being accused of being the mad pooper. But now, I know it's just a mystery that needs solving. And like I said, I love a good mystery. Chapter 3. Mrs. Fefferland explains. Mrs. Fefferland wheezes like a bath toy when she breathes and makes loud, clacking noises with her teeth. Maybe after I solve her poop mystery, she'll let me figure out what's making all that racket in her mouth. But for the moment, I concentrate on the interview. Good afternoon, Mrs. Fefferland. What seems to be the trouble? I ask. Try my best to sound like Sherlock Holmes. I've got a mystery pooper, and I want that culprit caught, she wheezes and clacks. Interesting, I say, because I'm not sure what else to say. I wait for her to add something else, but she only fills the awkward silence with a steady, gurgling wheeze. Maybe it's your own dog, Mrs. Fefferland, I say with a shrug. Could Tinker be the one pooping in your yard? The moment I say this, I know it's a mistake. Mrs. Fefferland looked at me like I just reached down her throat and pulled out a rubber duck. Of course not, she stammers. Tinker is never allowed in my front yard. Only the backyard. I'm the only one who's allowed in that yard. Okay, I croak. I'd like to get to the bottom of this mystery for you. My fee is $10 a day, plus expenses. Very well. I'd like you to get started right away, she says, standing up. I'd like this unpleasant situation resolved by this evening. Certainly, I say, although I'm really thinking I can't believe she said yes to $10. I'll be over in a few minutes. I'll be waiting, Mrs. Fefferland clacks. I close the door as she rumbles down the porch steps like a runaway piano. The game is afoot, I whisper, although I have no idea what that means. It was something Mr. Sherlock Holmes always said when he got a new case.